Hi, how's everyone out there doing? This is Amy Hamilton, author of The Project Manager Life is a Project and The Consummate Communicator Character Traits of True Professional, my newest books. Just a reminder, they are available free all day on Kindle version. I'm super excited. This is a very special edition of 24 authors in 12 hours. I am featuring different authors who were produced by Free Agent Press, which is owned by James Woosley. He is an Air Force veteran, a veteran-owned business. And the authors are so diverse. And I am really, really excited about this book. And the reason is it is probably one of the most gorgeous children's books I can imagine. And the author is Erica White. Erica, can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Yes. So A is for ancestors. My Black college ABCs is really what I call my love letter to HBCUs. I am a product of an HBCU. I'm a proud alumni of Spelman College, and my parents went to Tuskegee Institute. It's now Tuskegee University, and most of my family have gone to HBCUs. And I just really feel like it was such a foundational experience in my life. And so I wanted to write a love letter. So this is it.
So I read through this, and what do want to say is, if you're looking for a quick read as an adult, and you're out there and you're like, I really don't know anything about this topic,
Yes.
this is a wonderful way to become acquainted. And like right now, when we're trying to be sensitive about cultural diversity and understanding this, I mean, I was just overwhelmed, and I was like, this should not just be a children's book. This should be a kind of a book that's like promoted. Erica, I'm probably going to ask you to come back on the show when I have my February edition featuring, Black History Month, because I mean, this is probably one of the best primers I could possibly imagine for this.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to call it. I think it is, most people don't know about Black colleges if they're not in the Black community, and this is, and so they think, why do we need it? What is it? And this, to me, just really lets people know, what they're all about. And for me, it was such a foundational experience for me, and really transformed my life. And so I really want to share that with people.
Okay, so you had this idea. You're like, okay, I'm going to write this book. And how did it go from concept into your head until this? And I would say the illustrations in here, for you guys out there, I mean, absolutely is gorgeous. When you read through this book, it is so well done. I mean, this is like right up there, like with little golden books of books that, you can give this to a child at Christmas or for a birthday. It's a very special
Yes.
book.
Yes,
So how did
yes.
you go from this concept into this absolutely amazing product?
Yeah, so it was quite a journey. When my oldest daughter was younger, I used to read to her books every night, and her favorite book was a Christmas ABC, and it was a rhyme book, and she just loved it, loved it, loved it. And so I thought about that, and I thought, oh, how can I create something like this for her that's really special and unique? And so I just started writing, rhymes, and then as sometimes people who are self-published, you kind of end up not knowing what to do or where to go. Like I wrote it and then I just kind of sat with it and didn't. I was lost. But I started to talking to friends, and one of my very dear friends, my college roommate, connected me with another author who's going to be on here later today, Aurora Gregory. And Aurora really gave me lots of good pointers, and she kind of broke it down for me and then said, okay, so you've got it on paper. Now we've got to get it, into print and formatted, and an illustrator and all these things. So little by little, finding people who had information, it helped me to create this book.
That is so powerful, and I'm seeing some of the information come in from the chats right now, and it's I'm excited about all my authors. Don't get me wrong, but there's something special about children's books, because when you can teach a child to love reading, then they become an adult who loves reading. And so, what's your advice on for parents? And this isn't something like I prepped you for, but you
Yeah, it's
are a
okay.
parent. Is what is your advice for parents to get them to start reading young and to keep that love for reading in this digital age when people just immediately want to play these video games and watch YouTube videos, which you should be watching this video. It's informative,
Yes.
but not cat videos.
That's right. Well, I think that really introducing books at a very young age, and that's something that we did with our children. We had books and we read all the time. And as they get older, one of the things that I've learned is that if they're reading anything, that's good. Sometimes I think we want our kids to read the classics or things that we loved as children, and sometimes they're not interested in that. My oldest daughter went through a phase where she liked reading graphic comic books, graphic novels. And so, the librarian was like, "It's great. She's reading. She loves it." And so I just say to read all the time. I think your children should see you reading. And so, we talk about our love of books and we have books everywhere. And so I think it's just kind of start early and read often.
I think that's so important, and reading to your children at a young age is even before they can read themselves.
Mhm.
Read those bedtime stories, and make sure that they see you reading. So powerful.
Yes, that was something that was present in our home. Our parents had books all over the place, and my brother and I, we read them. I mean, we would just pull things off, and you learn so much, and you can explore and learn so many things when you explore a book.
I think that's so true. And so, if somebody goes to your website, which is scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now, what will they find? What kind of services do you have to offer?
Yeah, so the website is it obviously has links where you can purchase the book, and the book is in hardcover. It's also soft cover, and then I have a coloring book as well. But one of the things that I also have on there that I really love is I have an ambassador program. So this is an option for, maybe someone who says, well, I don't have kids or I'd like to, contribute in some way. What you can actually do is purchase books and you can select a book or a school that I will mail it to, or you can select or many schools. And so it's kind of adopt a school and put my book into schools because again, I think there are ways that all children can benefit from the book. And then also, if people are interested in, I can come and speak about my book. I'm also a psychologist, so there are some topics that I can talk to as well.
I just want to say I thought I had your link, and I apologize. I'm having to look it up real quick to put it
Oh,
into
okay.
the comment section, and that's the beauty of when you do this live. But I just want to say I didn't realize that you had a coloring book, and
Yes.
that is like super exciting. I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I want to get a coloring book. I think that coloring is very, very powerful way that we can relax. And our last speaker, Dr. Phil Carson, was talking about the importance of people learning how to relax, especially during COVID and different
Mm.
activities. And a lot of times now people are having these things. When I first heard the term adult coloring book, I was like, oh, well, I don't know about adult
What is
things
that?
here. And then when I found out it was like actually like just mature coloring books. But like I said, I mean, I learned so much from this, and this is one of the books where I was like, I need to read, and it's nice you can read it cover to cover, and a quick read. And I just imagine the coloring book has got to be somewhat like therapeutic as well.
Hmm. Hmm. And it gives you an opportunity really to personalize, the story for yourself. So when I was thinking about what other things I could do, I thought that's really great because coloring is so popular now for adults, and it's something you could do with your child. You could color, each color a page and talk about it. So to me, it's a really nice addition to have with the book.
No, I think that's super exciting. And these interviews go by like super fast. And I'm looking at the time, and I
Yes.
realized that we're almost halfway through. What I do want to do is remind everybody that today's 24 authors and 12-hour segment, that my books are available free for Kindle download the entire day. And in addition to being available on Kindle download for the entire day, if you purchase a print copy, I will be donating 10% of all proceeds to the Wounded Warrior Project. And I'm also going to put a link into the Wounded Warrior Project in our chat right now if you want to donate or volunteer for the organization. One of the things that came up earlier is right now, if you're not feeling really great about things, you always have the opportunity to go out and volunteer. And that's another great way that, helping others can help you to feel better. And Now, Erica, one of the things I want to talk to you about is started talking a little bit about Aurora and your links. Is how did you get connected to James Woosley? And for those of you who may have not watched the other segments, James Woosley is the small business owner for Free Agent Press. It is a veteran-owned organization. James was in the United States Air Force, and he has helped to publish over 200 books. So if you could share
Mhm.
that journey a little bit.
Yes. So when I was having that conversation with Aurora, she actually mentioned James. She worked with James and she said that he was just a wonderful person to work with. And so I reached out to him and I was completely green, had no idea what I was doing. And he was so patient and really just broke everything down in a way that I could understand it and I wasn't overwhelmed by it. He was really quick with his work. So, when I gave him deadlines, he was very fast to respond. And the other thing that he did that was really helpful is that my illustrator, Cami Volmer, she's a college student. She's a college student in the Columbus School of Art and Design in Columbus, Ohio. And she had never done illustrations for a book. And so he actually worked with her to explain some of the technicalities of that. And so, really, he was the most wonderful person to make this really easy for somebody who had no idea how to do it.
Now that is a really, really interesting for you to share, especially you look at the illustrations in the book and the words and the way they flow seamlessly in the formatting. And I mean, this is a book that, I mean, the quality is so rich. And one of the things that I do talk about in these interviews as well is right now during COVID, people can't go out really. The book festivals and the things that we're
Mhm.
used to where you would pick this book up and you would be flipping through it. We can't do that right now. And it's
Right.
it's kind of hard for us. And so one of the reasons why the 24 authors in 12-hour series came about is because all these authors were like, I have my book. And before I would go to book fairs, I would go to book festivals, I would go to my little local indie coffee shop. A book like this, I would imagine you could bring this into schools or different book fairs for schools.
Mhm.
And we don't have those right now. And so this is really a forum for authors to be able to showcase their books. And, so often in the book festivals, you get like a featured author and they get that interview and you would be in front of a couple hundred people,
Yes.
but now you're in front of the world and this is going to be recorded. So what do you want to share about your book that inspired your book and you want to make sure that the audience takes away?
Yes, you're so right about just being limited during these times. And when this opportunity came up, I was really surprised, and I thought I've never seen this before. It was really innovative. So thank you for doing this. And I think that what I want the world to know about this book is that it is a fun, interactive rhyming book that really opens up everyone to the joys and really the importance of HBCUs. And so I would say get it, share it, read it, and pass it on. I'm happy to contribute and to elevate these schools for people.
So what you mentioned this in your family, but I think a lot of people might not even know the abbreviation. So if you could go a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
into exactly what HBCUs are, how they came about. For those who haven't read the book, it's
sure.
it can give them kind of a little bit of insight into maybe the importance of reading this, and especially if you're a parent with young children now of
Yes.
any race or ethnicity or
Yes.
color, why there's value in that.
Yes. So I will say I come from a family of educators. So I have had most people in my family have taught formally, but some informally. I was a former college professor, and HBCU stands for Historically Black College and University. And HBCUs are institutions that were established for people of African American descent. And most people don't think about it very much when we think about colleges, but there was a time in our country when African Americans could not go to regular institutions. And these institutions were developed to allow African Americans to get an education. And so some people, ask me, well, okay, so why do we need them now? If things are integrated, and why should you go off to this special place? And one of the things that I will say now is that HBCUs are actually incredibly diverse. They are not like you can go no matter what race or ethnicity you are, and they are a place, however, where Black culture is celebrated, and where I would say you probably learn more about it in ways that I think can be really important for people. But the way that I think about it is that it's American history, it's our history, and so I am always an advocate for everyone learning as much as we can about, really everything that we can. The other thing that I will say too is that there are several institutions that are world renowned. For example, Tuskegee University has a veterinarian school that is world renowned. Harry Medical College is a medical school in Nashville, Tennessee. So there are places that are even offer advanced degrees for all people to come and to get a rich education.
And I think that's such an important point. Is I mean, we have so much diversity in this country, and we're very very lucky that we can have these different programs. And I think it would be a very unique experience as things have changed. That often you have read the stories about where an African American was able to break through the barriers and
Mhm.
go to a traditional school that was for the whites and the Caucasians. But now you kind of have that flip side on
Mhm.
what is it like for a Caucasian or a minority, Hispanic or an
Yes.
Asian to go to a historically Black university? And it
Yes.
really is a different paradigm.
It is. It is. And I will say that when I first got to Spelman, I was really it just felt like home to me. I mean, I looked around and I saw and it's also a women's institution. So it was just women who looked like me. But also what I came to appreciate was that there were our faculty and staff were diverse, and there were diverse students. And to me, it just was a wonderful place to learn and to grow and to really just feel nurtured and prepared for the world.
And that's such an important thing is, we're talking about children's books. We're talking about preparing for them for the world. And right now, I mean, COVID has changed a lot. COVID has changed how children are being educated. What is your advice for these people who are now suddenly stay-at-home parents who are having their kids stay home while they're trying to struggle with working?
Yes, 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 yes. That is something that none of us probably ever expected in our lifetime to have to manage those things. And one of the things that I, will say as a psychologist to people is be kind and be gentle. Everybody is trying the best that they can, and so I think sometimes we have really high expectations of ourselves and of our kids, and the stress is just it's too much. We are living through a pandemic, and this is nothing that most people on this planet have ever lived through. And I think it's just really important to say, you know what, we're going to do the best we can right now. And then sometimes that means you take a break. It might mean that you play a game, have some fun, get outside before, the weather gets really cold and nasty. But that we have to just be willing to be flexible because when we're flexible, that can allow us to feel less stress and be our best and have our kids be their best as well. So I say dial the pressure down.
I really, really the message of be kind resonates with me. I actually almost wore my Be Kind t-shirt today because I think that during this time of COVID, I mean, just kindness. And I will tell you the kindness I've experienced from others, the understanding when you're doing 24 authors live over a day, stuff happens. I've got a dog and two cats, and sometimes they like lose their minds in the middle of a segment. Kids, no, I can't tell you how many times, you see things like this. And I think it was very powerful when Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister for Canada, he was talking and his kid runs out and he's like, Daddy's doing an interview, and, he's very kind to his child. And it really, I think, let people know, like, this is, the new reality that we have right now.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, where our work life and our home life space quickly transitions between each other.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that we're real, I think sometimes what happens is we feel like we have to be perfect and, be these robots, and so, that's not true, and I think that we all actually relate better to people when we see a part of their humanity.
Yeah, so important. And so we've been talking a lot about what you've done. What are your current projects, and what do you have plans for the future?
So it's interesting. I have an idea, and I haven't started it yet because I feel a little overwhelmed. So I'm going to have to watch some more of your authors today to get some inspiration. But what I'd like to do is actually write some books that feature HBCUs, but kind of like a Nancy Drew style. Where there's sort of a mystery that happens on these campuses. As a child, my dad was an ROTC instructor at Alabama State in Montgomery, and then having been on other college campuses as a professor, they're so neat and there's so many, interesting stories. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to situate, a kid having an adventure on a college campus? So that's brewing in my mind next.
Well, first of all, I really want to thank you and your family for your service. One of the things that we talk a lot about on Veterans Day is it's not just the parents who serve; it's the kids, it's the family, it's a whole unit experience as well. So, thank you for your father's service and for
Yes,
growing
thank
up in
you.
a military family.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. We were a Air Force family and lived all over the world, and it was truly a wonderful experience. I also attribute that to just who I am as a person today.
Definitely. I was teasing James earlier about, I'm Army and he's Air Force, so we've got a little bit of service rivalry. We also have Marines and more, coming up today. So some great authors from the different services, and
Yes.
really showing that diversity as well is, so many military members who write books or who wrote books after they got out of the service, and so many diverse topics. And I do want to
Yes.
give a quick plug in for Michael Sloan later today. He is an Air Force veteran, and he wrote a young adult book. And the thing that you would never know, it's kind of a Narnia meets Harry Potter, is what I call it. And he wrote it while serving on active duty in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just really kind of powerful, and we're
Ah,
going to kind of delve into
yeah.
the behind the scenes on that. So, um, but so many wonderful authors today. We're kind of getting close to the end of our segment. So before I close, I do want to ask you, Erica, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want to talk about?
Wow. You know what? I really just want to thank you again. And this is such a unique opportunity. I actually work for the federal government now. I work at a VA, and so it's been really rewarding to give back in that way. And when I found out that you were doing this on Veterans Day and I didn't have to be at work, I got really excited. So I just want to thank you for that, and really thank you for the opportunity to feature my book and to talk about it. This has been really exciting, and I appreciate your support very
Well,
much.
thank you so much for your service to our veterans. It's greatly appreciated. Reminder to everybody, we put the link in for the Wounded Warrior Project. If you have the opportunity to volunteer or donate, it's greatly appreciated. And buy Erica's book. Oh my gosh, I am telling you, I I learned so much in this one little book. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I think so many people, like I said, like when you're using even the acronym, I was like, HBCU, oh,
Uh-huh.
historically black, I mean, just amazing little book, so powerful. And it's amazing. You don't have to write the next great American novel, even though it is November, where it's Great American Novel Month, write your 50,000 words, but you can write a few words with some illustrations that can really change people's lives and have an impact. So thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, everyone. We'll be on in a few minutes with our next author.